What's up everybody? So previously I did a Carnage halfway there type of body makeup, but today I'm going to be doing his counterpart, Venom. Now I've done Venom many times before. The last time was 2018 Comic Con here in Toronto, I believe so, and then I've done it a previous time, 10 years before that. And it was the same sort of concept where it was kind of like a half mask kind of forming on his face. So we're gonna do that again, but we're gonna try and switch it up and make it even better.
So to start off, I'm going to use my Posca pen, and I'm just filling in some of my tattoos there that are always difficult to work with because they always seem to show through some of the paints. So I'm just doing some of the symbiote here, kind of halfway on the skin. And this is just the neck portion where it's kind of forming on the neck from the chest up. So the chest is going to be completely covered, and I'm just mapping out some parts where I want it to be blank. So as always, when I'm doing large areas, I take my sponge and I fill it in just the first layer just to get a base on. Then I take my white Posca pen and I'm just mapping out where Venom's eye is gonna be. I did do it a little bit too big for my liking at first, and then later on as I went along, I adjusted it, made it a bit smaller, not too much smaller, but just a tad bit smaller. And I felt that that worked a lot better. Sometimes when you go too big, it can take up too much of the face, and it can be so dominant that everything else kind of just doesn't catch the viewer's eye. So again, here with the Posca pen, I'm just doing some of that area where I want the symbiote to kind of go off. Then I go in with my paint and I just make those lines thicker. And this is going to give it that kind of half on look, like it's forming on the face, and it's just before he becomes fully Venom. So this is just the symbiote forming on the face. So again, just the base layer, filling it in with solid black here. Then I'd go down to my chin and just use more of a mop brush and fill that in, kind of define some of the lines a bit better. Then I use a cream paint, and with this I'm totally filling in all those areas where you can see some of the skin come through. So with this, you're not going to see anything come through. It's going to be solid black. And that's what we want when we're doing a character like Venom.
So just making sure we get everything filled in and there's no blotchy areas with the skin showing through. Then we get on to one of the main parts, which is the eye. And we're just filling it in solid white at first. I'm just going over some of the areas and letting it come together before I go over my actual eye. So then what I did was just take a sponge and then dab on a bit of gray here, just also to create some depth to it, so it just doesn't look completely flat and that it has some dimension to it. Also went in with a little bit of blue just to add a bit of color. And that's pretty much the only blue that I'm going to be using for this Venom paint. Typically people like to mix in a lot of blue with the black when they do a Venom body paint or whatnot, but I decided to switch it up. So here I'm just doing the eye just kind of coming off a bit into the skin. And here's where I change things up, where instead of the blue, I'm actually gonna go in with the purple and add it as the veins. And I thought this would be a nice touch, and it would also be something kind of different and give it just a different look to kind of separate what we typically see with Venom. And I actually like how it turned out. The purple was actually really awesome. So there we have it, Venom body paint. I loved how this turned out. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.